Okay, you've got to answer the question you asked me. At what point is losses like that last night for the Kings, the competitive, again, another great game from De'Aaron Fox, all-star.
Mhm.
Malik Monk, just phenomenal. Sabonis, having those, strong numbers across the board. Again, Davion picking up late. All of that. Kevin Herter, who you have big contributions from the last few games. Not quite what he's been, but you had guys who picked up for him. Bench played well. Uh, had a lot of things go your way, and then they didn't, and so
Mhm.
they lose. They lose another competitive game. At what point is losing competitive games becoming worrisome for you?
Um, I look at it as the record, right? And honestly, it's when you get 10 games under 500.
Oh, wow, that far.
Mhm.
Okay, 3-6 now. I mean, thankfully, that's
3-6 now.
hmm
Like I said, the season played out the same way where they kept messing around and losing, close games and stuff like that. And they finished 3 games under 500.
yeah,
You straight.
yeah.
You
I,
straight.
I got you.
So it's not now. It's not tomorrow. You finish once again. You finish 4 games under 500. It's not tomorrow. It's not Sunday, Friday. You for this season. For this season, if and especially if it's a situation where they're playing well and they haven't figured out a way to close out games, that's something that is fixable. If they're just not good enough, that's something to be worried about way earlier. Like right now, like these guys just think they're not good enough. They can't
Yeah,
do it.
yeah,
You know what I mean? They have an opportunity to learn from their mistakes, to get better. A lot of this stuff, like I said, you look at it, high up in the sky. Went 2-2 on a 4 game road trip.
yeah.
We'll take that. The biggest thing with the Kings, the biggest issue with them, in my opinion, when you look at it from high above, is once again they are struggling to play at home. That's more. That's like my concern because you look at the way they play on the road. You go 500 on the road, maybe a little bit below. Cool. You usually have to fall back on. We're good at home. They're 1-3 this year at the house.
So, I don't. Have we? I'm sure this has been done. Like, what caliber of team though does home court matter for? You know what I mean? Like, what does home court matter for Detroit or Orlando? Or what does home court matter for, going back to last year's New Orleans Pelicans? What does it mean for them? You know what I mean? What does it mean for last year's San Antonio Spurs? Like, what I'm trying to get at is, does home court really matter when you're trying to figure out other things? And this could be true for the Sacramento Kings or any basketball team. You were just talking about closing out. We're talking about late game execution. We're talking about late game execution all day. If you can't execute late in the game, that's late in the game. The story isn't you can't execute late in the game on the road or late in the game at home. It's you can't execute late in the game. So how big of a deal is home court advantage when you're still trying to figure out other things? Or I shouldn't say home court advantage. How big of a deal is it when you're playing at home versus playing on the road when you've got so many other things that you're trying to figure out?
I mean, for me, they're not directly related. You know what I'm saying? Like their struggles late in games are exclusive to just that. Their struggles
The
late in
late in the
games.
game. Right.
I'm just looking at it in a grander scheme. Is you gotta play better at home. You got to play better at home. That's the one thing that you should be able to fall back on. Is when they come to Sacramento, it's a tough night. That's a tough team at home.
hmm
They haven't been able to. Nobody's been able to say that for the last few years. So, in a grander scheme, is what I'm saying. They're mutually exclusive when you talk about their late game execution and playing better at home. For me,
This from Shams. NBA Commissioner Adam Silver and Kyrie Irving met this morning, and the sides had a productive and understanding visit, paving the way for the Nets and their suspended star to work through his steps on a potential path forward. That definitely doesn't sound like it came from someone in Kyrie's camp.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting when Woj tweets about this and it has a completely different tone than Shams. Or maybe that's exactly what happened. And yeah, let's see if Kyrie is back for the national televised game heard around the world.
Right. Yeah, that's a situation.
Yes, it is. You are listening to D-Lo and KC on KIFM West Sacramento, KRXQ HD2 Sacramento 98.5. The real 98 Rock. ESPN 1320, driven by Lasher's Elk Grove Dodge. Always live on the free Odyssey app. You can watch the show as well on twitch.tv/ESPN1320, youtube.com/ESPN1320. Also, really don't know what's going on the rest of the show past Jason Jones of the J Street Vibes podcast.
We back at it. We out here.
This is real. This is not a drill. It is happening. J Street Vibes is available wherever you get podcasts from. Jason Jones with us. The final hour of the show. He'll be with us about 3:20. Of course, the Sacramento Kings lose another heartbreaker last night to the Golden State Warriors. At 2:00, isn't that when the last 2-minute report comes out?
I would think so.
I think
usually sometime during our show.
We will just sit here and wait quietly until the last 2-minute report comes out.
You talk a little bit more basketball wise. Some of the things the Kings did wrong in that game. Steph Curry is going full supernova, like scorching the earth. And in the last couple of possessions, the Kings left Kevin Huerter on an island with them. You got to get the ball out of his hands.
Mm-hmm.
You have to get the ball out of his hands. You cannot leave Kevin Huerter in that situation. You can't put yourself in that situation. If Draymond hits a wide open corner three to seal it, you tip your hat. You know, if hell, to be honest with you, if Andrew Wiggins hits another three to win it, you tip your hat. This guy Steph Curry is going off, and you're leaving. Once again, it's the same thing we always talk about. I love for a coach to explain this to me because it feels like, I could be wrong. The numbers may say something different, but the switch that the offensive player wants that he just gets effortlessly, that doesn't seem like a good thing, or it ends in a good thing. So I think it was De'Aaron who was on Steph. Draymond comes and sets, a weak little screen. And I don't mean that as like a shot at Draymond.
Yes, you did.
No, I don't. Like, because he didn't even set a screen. It's the same thing that happened in Miami. Like, these guys are getting pinned on screens that aren't screens.
Yeah.
Like,
standing
Draymond,
in front of him.
That's it. Draymond just runs over towards Steph, and they immediately switch. This at least get caught on the screen. They didn't even get set. They wouldn't even screen. So he sets this weak little screen or diversion. They switch immediately.
Start calling them diversions. He comes over and he sets a diversion.
That's all it was. No resistance. The Kings switch. Steph Curry with a little bit of a push off, but he's been doing it his whole career. I don't expect it to be called. He hits Kevin Huerter with the step back three. They go up three. Man, fight through it, trap and leave Draymond open. In that situation, even then, I'm looking at it like, I can't let a three happen. Like, if they get a two, if they get a wide open layup off Curry finding Draymond, all right, we'll live to fight another day. The three, I can't let. And a three from Steph Curry, trap the screen. I don't understand how they play these things sometimes, and especially against a guy like Steph Curry, who already is deadly, but he's already got it going. And you leave one of your worst defenders out there to fend for himself. Got to get the ball out of his hands.
Yeah, I don't disagree. But I'm going to use a line that you use they're pros too. The call is to get the ball into Steph Curry's hands because everyone besides Andrew Wiggins didn't have a freaking pulse last night.
Right.
And that's the other, frustrating thing about it is that game is, if you've been watching the Warriors, that game is everything we thought it was. Or let me take that back. That Warriors team is everything that we thought it was.
Mm.
They struggled from the bench. You got some production from you got a maybe above average production night from Draymond Green. Not much from Clay. Got a big night from Andrew Wiggins, but it really just boiled down to